Hey, what's up to all of my Aries out there? Please make sure to get the book at Amazon or BarnesandNoble.com. The links will be in the description box below as usual. Get to that comment section. Don't forget to leave your comments in the comment section below. I always check my comments. I'll even reply or speak to you, communicate with the majority of you. Like the video, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Really do appreciate the likes, but don't just hit the likes, right? Getting the thumbs up button, which you should do, but also take to the comment section. Hold on one second. I want to turn off the light behind me so that you don't have two light sources. Hold on. Okay, so let's get into this. Hope y'all are having a great day. Comment on the video, like the video, subscribe. If you'd like to contact me for a personal reading, my email address are in the description box below as usual. I actually updated my description box for all those people who have been paying attention. I'm actually raising the price on my Birthchart readings that I do for people, because a lot of times people come to me and stuff like this, right? And I'm glad that they do, and they'll want answers, right? And I really didn't take into consideration until a few hours ago just how serious my answers are. Right? People expect me to answer some serious questions. How is it that you can make money? Court cases, things like that. Serious issues. And I'm giving people answers, but I never really took a minute to really think about the kind of value that I myself was bringing to the table. Excuse me. I knew that I was bringing value to the table. I knew that, right? Because I was answering people's questions. But I never really took into consideration just how serious, the people who come to me and they keep coming to me really take me. And I am most definitely appreciative of that. But the reason why it is that I'm upping the price on the birth chart, right, reading someone's birth chart, is because I'm getting better at it, right? There's a video that I did, right, describing the differences between the night chart and the day chart. I'm gonna go ahead and probably leave a card somewhere up there and show you what it is that I'm talking about, right? But also too, I'm also explaining each house and breaking it down so that you can get a better understanding of it. So that's the only reason why. It's not a matter of trying to, price people out and scam people and stuff like this. It's more a matter of I'm getting better. You know what I mean? It's quite that simple. I'm getting better. So I am available to do personal readings today. Come through, get your reading. Why not? I'm also making things more specific in the description box, because a lot of people will come to me and will ask, is this same day? Yes, it's same day. Whenever it is that you, whatever day you pay me, I like to get it out to people as soon as possible, because I'm not really one of those individuals that does it on a specific day. Whatever day you pay is the same day that I would like to give it to you, right? So it doesn't seem as if I just took your cash and like I'm making you wait and holding out on that, right? You bought it, you got it. Another question too, right, which I also answer in the description box, right? But I am going to answer now. Just bear with me, Aries. Just bear with me, right? Just get comfortable, get your popcorn, because this is going to be one of those videos, just kind of, enjoying myself, right? A lot more. Also, right, I answer the question in the description box. What kind of readings, what kind of birth chart readings do I do? I do career, love, general, you know, I mean, pretty much sky's the limit, you know what I mean? People have hit me up, asked me about a criminal case. I'm not necessarily going to talk to say specifically what it is, but there was somebody who hit me up and asked me about a criminal case because somebody had gotten hurt, and they wanted to know if it was a setup, and I let the person know, yes, it was a setup. It was a setup. Indefinitely, right? Definitely, it was a setup, and I was able to help this person out. And you know, the police was already doing their own investigating, so it's not like, you know, it's, you know, anything like that, you know, I'm talking about anything illegal or anything like that. Police have already done their investigation. It's just that or was concurrently doing their investigation. It's just that the person came to me and asked me for my help, and I helped that person. All right. So you can you can ask me for love in the birth chart reading. You can ask me for career in the birth chart reading, right? You can ask me for generalities, just kind of be able to just you know, just talk about some of the things that I see that sticks out to me, right? But let's get to your reading. So, cards that I come up with for the Aries, right, is the King of Pentacles, Two of Wands, Ten of Swords, the Nine of Swords, the Five of Swords, the Wheel of Fortune, the King of Cups, the Ace of Wands, the Emperor, right, Five of Rods, right. You have the Eight of Wands, the Seven of Rods, the Moon, the Eight of Swords, and last but not least, we have the Seven of Cups. So for the Aries, obviously you represent the Emperor. So you, Aries, did show up in your own reading, but let's create context around this. So the King of Pentacles, and the Two of Rods, and the Ten of Swords. The King of Pentacles and the Two of Rods represents the kind of situations that you find, that a lot of you Aries find yourselves into, where you're trying to be the one to help people, but the Two of Wands is that people say, or they make it seem as if they want to help you, but the end result of a lot of your relationships, or some of the things that your relationships have in common, is the Ten of Swords, where what's going on with you is that you find yourselves being stabbed in the back, right? Unfortunately. Being betrayed by people whom swear up and down at first that they really do have your back, but when time comes for them to actually show and prove that, they show you just how much they really don't have your back. So the Nine of Swords and the Five of Swords now, the Nine of Swords represents your worries. It represents how, you know, you Aries are, right, you realize that this is the type of situations that keep on happening to you. And a lot of you Aries want to figure out what are some of the ways to have this situation never happen to you again. And if it does happen to you, few and far in between, right? So it doesn't happen so often. The Five of Swords represents how it is. You just keep thinking about one of the problems, Aries, that you keep thinking about the kind of rejection that you've suffered from. And the Five of Swords also represents how people are going to play on that if a lot of you Aries aren't really ready, and if a lot of you Aries aren't taking that into consideration. You will have people who will end up betraying you, right? Because you have to know what it is that you're looking at. You Aries have to understand the signs that the person can show you, or signs that the person usually does show you when they're really not really rocking with you like that. One of the signs of how it is that you can know, right? And I'm spilling the beans, right? Just spitting game, is, again, the lack of consistency. When someone isn't necessarily really serious about having your back, you're going to find yourselves in a situation where they're going to say one thing and do another, okay? The lying, right? The lying for absolutely no reason, right? A lot of people end up, lie, but if you find yourself in a situation where you end up like interacting with these people and you found out that they have more than 3 lies, that's a kind of a situation where, or more so specifically, they lie to you more than 3 times a week. Now we're moving into a situation statistically where you may want to watch out for that, right? Because it may mean that they are a pathological liar, which is one of the red flags that you should watch out for. Sorry about that. So it's a lack of consistency, lying, which is an offshoot of a lack of consistency. And over emotionality is a huge one. You know, if you find yourself being in a situation where you have to walk on eggshells, then that may be an indication that what is up with this thing? But that may be, let me move this. That may be an indication that you, sorry about that. I'm trying to figure out what is up with this. But that may be an indication that you Aries, have found yourself someone whom you should stay away from, because they're planning on stabbing you in the back. They're not trustworthy. So the Wheel of Fortune represents, again, how this stuff is supposed to have happened to you, okay? The Wheel of Fortune represents Cancer, right? In the astrological sign, right? The astrological wheel, it represents Cancer, right? Cancer crabs, the Wheel of Fortune, and the Chariot both represent Cancer, right? So the Wheel of Fortune, right? Why am I saying that this is meant to be? This is meant to be because number one is the Wheel of Fortune. So it represents how you find yourself being, the Wheel of Fortune deals with fortunate and misfortune. The Wheel of Fortune also talks about how, like I said, it represents Cancer crabs. And Cancer crabs deal with vigilance. They deal with observation. You understand what I'm saying? They deal with observation. They deal with patience. So a lot of the times, the Aries being so passionate, I wonder what is up with this. But anyway, the Aries being so passionate, and the Aries being in a situation where, like I said, the Aries being so passionate about wanting to fall in love or falling in love, or having people that they can actually trust, the Wheel of Fortune is there, which it's a reminder to let you know that you have to take your time when it comes to interacting with other people, because a lot of people aren't necessarily going to be 100 about who it is that who they're trying to portray they are at first. And this is where it is a lot of you Aries may find yourselves. See, again, you have to understand that the Aries, right, regardless of who you are, represents hopeless romanticism, or being the hopeless romantic. And this is something that as an Aries, you're going to have to learn to get rid of, because the word, when you really break it down, the word romantic just means being distracted. And when you're distracted, right, you're falling into the hands of the magician. You're eating out of the palms of the magician. The person that, on the flip side, can use distraction as a means of manipulation. So you have to understand that part of the problem that you're having, Aries, is because of your romanticism, i.e. you being distracted. Let's be more specific. You being distracted about you wanting to fall in love, and you wanting to be in love with somebody, and someone being in love with you. So the King of Cups and the Ace of Rods now represents this being a situation where you Aries have to learn to start taking control of your own emotions and your own emotionalism, and stop rushing the process so quickly when it comes to you meeting someone new, or even when someone is showing immediate interest that they may like you. The Ace of Rods represents how this is a skill that you're going to have to learn to develop, is patience. You know, patience has to deal with timing, and all things come to those who knows how to wait and then strike when the opportunity is there, right? And see, the thing is that the Emperor, which is Aries, the Emperor represents this is going to take a lot of development, because the Emperor is an individual who isn't necessarily about short-term gains, especially when it's not wise to take short-term gains. So the Emperor is a person who, look at the way that the Emperor is, right? The Emperor is a representation of learning how to be patient and learning how to play chess moves, while people may be playing chess as well, or they may be playing checkers. Either way it goes, you Aries know what it is that you're doing, right? And the Five of Cups, right? You want to make falling in love or being in love a calculated move. And the thing is that the Five of Rods represents this being a situation for you where, because if you don't, you're going to continue to find yourselves in situations with people where things are going to go left very quickly. And then the thing is that the eight of rods, right? The Eight of Rods represents how you need to start learning how to use your words as well, and learn how to not only use your words, but learn how to not use your words and not get upset at the same time. Because see, one of the downfalls of Aries, right? One of the weaknesses of Aries happens to be the strength of Aries, where Aries is very passionate and very not just passionate, but very straightforward in their approach. And sometimes what the Aries don't seem to understand is that can be used against them. People will use your temperament or your temper against you. So that's what the card Temperance is about, right? Let me show y'all. Right, the card Temperance is there to show you to manage it. It's really a gang of things. It doesn't just only represent to manage your temper, but it also represents guidance. Okay, it also the Temperance also represents alchemy, learning how to change the process of change, learning how to go from one state to another state that you want to be. And see, the Eight of Rods represents just that. You're going to have to learn how to transform from being an individual who's super passionate to the point where that can be used against you, and now to the Seven of Rods, where it's a person who's much more cold and calculated and calm. A lot of the times what I've noticed is that Aries, right, they say that Aries is, warlike and passionate, when in actuality Aries is the people who I've met, because I've been around a couple of Aries, especially lately. They're pretty much people who are pretty much in their heads, right? Aries people are pretty much in their heads. What gets them riled up like that is when something excites them, or when something angers them. But you Aries are going to have to learn how to stop being so angry to the point where to the point of incoherence, right? And even me having an Aries moon myself, I'm speaking from personal experience in that regard, because for me, having an Aries moon, me having an Aries moon myself is a situation where a lot of people would try to manipulate me and get me to look crazy and stuff like this. The point, it's still idiotic still to this day. It's still freaking stupid still to this day. I don't get it. But that's neither here nor there. The point is that for whatever idiotic reason or dysfunction that those people was having, they would say and do things and then act and then play the victim, because that's the card that a lot of people have been playing. And from my understanding and my own observational skills, because I have Cancer Crab in my chart, observation. From my own observation, my own observational skills, this isn't a tactic that was just implemented yesterday. This is a tactic that's been implemented for a long time. You know, this idea that, you know, you could be, you know, the neighborhood gangbanger, right? I'm just using this as an example, but you could be the neighborhood gangbanger. Wow, what is up with that? But you could be the neighborhood gangbanger and essentially be in a situation where you'll end up calling the police on somebody or whatnot because they scared you, but you the neighborhood gangbanger type stuff. You know, you join, you know, you know, and I'm speaking from real life, because I've had the police called on me or whatnot by the neighborhood gangbangers and stuff like this. And it's like, what is that? What part of the game is that? Because you trolling and being disrespectful and out of pocket, and when I'm finna give you a knuckle sandwich, now all of a sudden you scared or whatnot. I ain't even gonna get that far. But the point of the matter is, you gotta learn to not be manipulated, right? Not let your own temper be your own downfall, or your romanticism when it comes to being in love being your downfall, excuse me. Because the name of the game today is, even though it's a pretty idiotic game, is trying to essentially get someone irritated. It's essentially a slow boil where it's about getting someone ticked off to start wilding out so that the other person can say, ha, I knew you were like this. It's an idiotic kind of thing, because why would you try to tick off someone who is interested in you? I don't know, but you know, it doesn't make any kind of real sense. It's quite clumsy and idiotic if you ask me, but this is the way that a lot of the relationship games are played. People are going to say and do things that's going to essentially tick you off. And like I said, you have to learn to control your temperament. And then on the flip side, you have to learn to control your romanticism too. Because, excuse me, you just being out here and being in a situation where you're giving your all to someone on the first date, and them taking advantage of you, you got to stop doing that, Aries. You don't want to get yourself caught up into that. So the Seven of Rods represents how it is that you have to learn to be more strategic and methodical in that approach, right? And then the Moon represents one of the ways on how it is that you're going to go about doing that is to figuring out, why is love so important to you, and why is romanticism so important to you in the first place. The Eight of Swords and the Seven of Cups. The Eight of Swords and the Seven of Cups represents how this is a situation where you Aries are going to continue to get people who are going to act like that. But again, you have to be the one to pick and choose which cup, or person rather, you're going to interact with. The cups represents people, right, in this case. And the Seven of Swords represents the type of people, the quality of people that you're attracting is still the individuals who are dysfunctional. So you're going to have to figure out what is it about you where you keep attracting these types of people with your over romanticism, or your hopeless romanticism, and then you're going to have to learn to figure out how to stop being the hopeless romantic and actually start picking people based upon it being functional. You know what I mean? And love also too is a learning process. Always is a learning process. That's the reason why it is that I was able to learn so much game from the people who I was interacting with in that level. It's because I always paid attention to it, and I realized like I would learn from the lessons. You know what I mean? And one of the lessons that I learned, which is the reason why I come on camera and I say this a million times, is most people are playing when it comes to being in relationships. And when I say playing, I mean most people aren't really meant to be taken seriously when they say that they want someone real, because most people are playing anyway, right? You're texting somebody, and like when you're texting them, they don't understand that it's a text. So it's just like a conversation over the phone or face to face. You're just typing it out. And instead of people texting you immediately right back, right? Or maybe even if they have something to do, they just tell you, hey, you know, I have something to do or whatnot. And they have to be serious. Hey, I have something to do. I'll hit you up later. And then they really do text you later. What they'll do is that it's like they put down their phone and they completely walked away from it for like 30 minutes, an hour. And it's like, why it is that you're doing this type of idiotic stuff is really irrelevant, because you wonder why it is that people are turned off. It is because people who play that type of tactic is kind of whack. It shows that they really don't have any kind of people skills. They don't know how to socialize, and that they're awkward, basically. So let's clarify the Emperor. That's really what it means, you know. So you have the the Page of Cups, the Knight of Swords, the Two of Wands. You already got the Two of Wands, but to clarify the Emperor, this is about something coming to a transition, right? Something coming to an end and transforming is what the Page of Cups represents. And what is transforming is the Knight of Swords, which is people just running in and out of your life, right? Wanting to get something specific out of you and then leaving, and you know they quote unquote having the last laugh. The Two of Wands represents how people have been poaching you, unfortunately. And what I mean when I say poaching you is that you Aries, with this over enthusiastic mentality, because remember, you are the hopeless romantic, you're putting a target on your back. So this is something that a lot of you Aries, to clear up the Emperor, like I said, you have to learn to watch out for. Let's clarify the Moon card. Let's clarify the Moon. You have the Moon. Clarify the Moon. You have the Tower, and then you have the Queen of Swords. So what I'm seeing here for the Moon is, to clarify the Moon, right, is that again, the Moon, the Tower, the Queen of Swords, you're gonna have to go through your own emotional understanding. A lot of the times, right, the Queen of Swords is here. A lot of the times people are emotionally illiterate, and that's the situation that's getting a lot of people caught up in a situation where it's driving them insane. It's making them less quote unquote intelligent. It's because of their lack of inner understanding. And that's what the Moon represents, right? The Moon is ruled by what? Cancer crabs. And Cancer's a rule over emotions and feelings. And it's because of that emotional illiteracy. Illiterate means that they don't know how to understand it, right? So, or they don't understand it. So because of their emotional and feelings illiteracy, This is why it is that you see so many people becoming more and more mentally ill as time goes by. Is because what you're seeing is you're seeing people who haven't worked out what's going on with them, right, emotionally, right, for them to actually be able to even understand what is going on with them, for them to be able to even be sociable. Because what is the difference between you and I in that sense of why is it that I'm able to communicate with so many people, right? Specifically, I'm using myself as an example, and communicate with so many of y'all and have y'all subscribe. It's because the stuff that I'm saying is connecting with you in a real way where not only am I being social, but it's also to a point where I'm making a lot of sense to your situation. And I'm preaching to the choir in the sense that I'm making sense to your situation, and it's hitting home. So the way that I'm able to do that is through years of trying to understand my emotional illiteracy, and to even understand that at a certain point I was emotionally illiterate, as we all are. But I didn't even know that I had to actually go into my emotions and feelings to actually be able to understand them and then go through them, right? And because in this society, right, a lot of the times people don't respect people. People don't respect, those crazy people don't respect people anyways. But the overt narrative is, if you can't sit there and take abuse, then you're not really tough. You're not hard. You're not supposed to be respected. And what I'm saying to you, Aries, is that that's not mentally healthy. That's not emotionally healthy at all. That's not feelings healthy at all. As a matter of fact, that's dysfunctional. And see, the thing is that the moon in the tower, like I said, is supposed to represent how a lot of you Aries need to understand that you're going through a time of transformation where you're supposed to take the time out of your day to be able to understand what's going on. Okay? And the thing is that the Queen of Swords represents how this is a situation for you, where the Queen of Swords is also about how you have to understand you being the hopeless romantic, as well as you being capable of aggression, right? Overt aggression. You have to understand that, or being an angerholic. You have to understand that, or rageaholic, right? You Aries have to understand that not necessarily everybody is against you, but the Queen of Swords in this particular situation represents how it is that you have to watch out for looking at people who may not really necessarily be your enemies as being your enemies. So you Aries are gonna have to learn to essentially really be able to decipher who's whom. I understand that kind of situation myself, right? When I was coming up as a teenager, like I said, not only would people try to get on my nerves intentionally, just so that they can quote unquote have a laugh or whatever the case may be. You have to understand that most of the times when people are trying to get on your nerves, it probably means that they're scared anyway it probably means that they're scared anyway of you, right? That's what it probably means. And the reason why it is I'm saying that in the first place, to not take it so personally when people start tweaking. Number one, they're going through their own emotional baggage themselves. And number two, like I said, they're afraid of you. I remember myself being in many instances where I went to a party and stuff like this, that me and my friends crashed, and so many people dancing, and like soon as me and my friends roll up in a party, I see such and such, and the same people who was talking the most crap to me in high school, same people coming over shaking my hand and trying to make friends and dipping out, and they probably were there for a few minutes because when I arrived, they was dancing. So you know, so try not to take things so personally, Aries. Everything is not as it seems. So comment on the video, like the video, subscribe to my YouTube channel. Just as I said before at the beginning of the video, if you'd like to contact me for personal reading, my email address as well as the prices are in the description box below. Why not come through and get your reading? I'm available today. So yeah, peace.